thank you for being here tonight, and I'm going to enjoy this one. I'm going to try and pass over some really good information. If you're on this webinar, then I assume that perhaps you or a loved one suffers from headache, which is what we don't really want. It's something that we see every day in our clinics, especially now. There's a lot of stress around, the changes that have been forced upon us, especially working from home. So today I want to talk about headaches, but I don't want to make this just a boring list of symptoms and medical terminology. I want to do some good here, and we're going to come up with some solutions that I hope can really help you. First of all, I'm going to ask Jerry to put up the first question in our poll, which is, how often do you get headaches? So go ahead, check. Oh, there we are. Perfect. So I'll just leave that a moment, and let's just see where we go with this one. Some people coming in now. Few more to answer. Okay, so, well, half the people that have answered get their headaches only once in a blue moon, which is great. But there again, 21%, 2 or 3 times a week, 27% weekly, and 7% daily. Now, I used to have headaches a long time ago before I became a chiropractor, and I didn't know what to do about them. I do know that they were debilitating and they caused me a lot of grief. So today I'm going to really try and help as many people that do suffer headaches to try and improve their lives. Let's just move that out of the way. So let's try and learn something straight from the off. The alignment of your structure will determine how much pain you suffer from in the future. It's a simple fact. I'm a chiropractor, and so the first thing that I want you to know is that your structure will go a long way to determining how much pain and how much discomfort you have in the future. Okay, so let's do a posture check. Let's learn what good posture looks like. So stay with me here. Hopefully some of you have done this with me before, but it's good to repeat. Go ahead and lift your sternum. That's your chest bone. And pull your head back onto your shoulder. Now open and relax those shoulders. And now you should have a slight curve in your low back. Your head's on your shoulder and your chest is open. Now go ahead and engage your abs. Now that is what good posture, good sitting posture is like. So I want you to remember that, because that is your default posture in the future, right? It is absolutely true that people with poor posture statistically suffer more headaches of all types. Okay, right, so headaches. Did you know that 90% of people will have substantial headaches in their life? Now, by substantial, I mean it really is debilitating at some stage in their lives. 30%, which is, I think, a huge number, will suffer notable headaches, so it's affecting their lives in any particular year. Right now, I think this is, I know how debilitating these are, because people come to me almost every single day with headaches. It's one of the #1 reasons people come into our clinics. The problem is, medical companies, because they've been unable to address the causes of the problem, have gone ahead and they've come up with a great big long baffling list of different types of headaches. And I think you should be familiar with some of them. Tension headaches, cluster, stress, rebound, I'll mention those later, congenital, sinus, allergy, exertion, hormone, caffeine, primary, secondary, withdrawal, migraines, lots of different types of headaches. And that is some list. Well, it's all very well and good listing these different types of headaches, but that's only good if you're doing something about them. If you're literally leading people to assume that they're victims, they've got this victim mentality, and it's something that they're stuck with, and basically being channeled into taking drugs, then it's probably not the best way. So today, I want to try and help you change the lens by which you view this subject. Right? If we can identify the cause, then perhaps we can go ahead and do something about it. That's my intention today. So with that in mind, I would like to ask Jerry to put up this, the second poll question. What type of headaches do you suffer from? So go ahead. What type of headaches do you perceive that you suffer from? All right, so we can see that quite a few people are not sure what they're called, which is absolutely understandable, because I know that most headaches don't actually fall under any category. Half of you perceive that your headaches are of migraine type, and 25%, a quarter of you, are calling them tension or a sinus type headache. That's really interesting to me. So here's my first dangerous belief. And I'm going to come up with a few dangerous beliefs today, because I think it's really important that we understand a little bit more about this subject. Dangerous belief number one is that headaches are the problem. Unfortunately, too many people actually think that headache is a thing. And it's a thing in itself, and it is the problem, rather than a sign or a symptom that maybe something else needs to change. And if you are a headache sufferer, I really want to try and change that perception today. Which leads me to this very, very important question. Is pain, headache is a pain, is pain good or bad? Interesting question, I think. Well, of course, any type of pain is not good. We don't want pain, but in my world, I deal with pain. It's sort of my industry that I'm in. I think pain is both good and bad, and I'd like you to think of it that way as well. It does have a purpose. It's telling us that something is wrong. Simple as that, okay? So don't be so hard on your pain. Communicate with it. Think about it. It's your body. It's that amazing intelligence inside your body that's trying to tell you something. All right. So Jerry, go ahead and put up the third poll question. And the question is, what do you do when you get your headache? How do you alleviate your headaches? I do like these polls. I find it really interesting. I get good information from this. Well, there you go. So over half seek professional help. They come to, so half of you on this webinar actually go to the chiropractor to get relief from headaches. That's great. That is great. What have we got? Half of you do some self-help, so painkillers or maybe applying some pain relief medicine or something. Half of you try and rest sometimes. And then, of course, some of us just endure and carry on in the stoic way. That's really interesting. So to me, pain is both good and bad, right? I want you to think of it that way. So my dangerous belief number one, do drugs work? Well, what do you think? Of course they work. they work really well at what they're designed to do. But do they actually do what you want them to do, which is fix the cause of the problem? I think that's an interesting question. What is your objective? Is it to alleviate a problem, or is it just to get some symptomatic relief? We do know that drugs are very dangerous. If you keep taking them, then inevitably they lead to problems with liver or kidneys or GI problems. That they cause problems with the intestinal lining, and many of them are addictive. So, do drugs work? Yeah, they do work at what they do, but they don't work safely. This is the most important thing that you need to know from this slide. Now, I know this is a crazy kind of fact, but one of the primary side effects of many prevalent headache medications is actually more headaches. That's right, they're called rebound headaches. And these rebound headaches, they're caused by when you take too much medication for your headaches. So taking medications for more than just a few days can trigger overuse or rebound headaches, okay? And then if you keep on taking them, there can be other problems down the line. We really want to listen to our body and find that cause, and we're going to address that cause, okay? So we're going to go ahead and we're going to start to look at the 3 main types of headaches that I will see in my clinics. And when I say the main types, these account for more than 90%, probably more like 95% of the headaches that come. So first one is headaches. Sinus headaches, reasonably easy to identify. They tend to come when people have allergies, and they cause pressure, inflammation in the sinuses, and sinuses are in the face or behind the forehead. They tend to be seasonal, and they are very often they can be attributed to some kind of toxicity. So what we can do, if we can determine what is the trigger, what is the cause, then we might be able to avoid it. All right. So while I'm thinking about this, why don't you go ahead, people who are watching, to think about your headaches. What is the trigger? Are they sinus headaches? Are they tension headaches? We'll talk about them in a moment. Write down what you perceive are the triggers. That would be really interesting. And I think it's really important that we all know what are our triggers. All right. Too many people in this world, this ever more toxic world, are suffering from sinusitis. So that's inflammation of the sinuses due to toxicity in our environments, right? We need to be careful of our environment and avoid these triggers. Second type of headache, most people are very aware of that migraine headaches can be very debilitating. Again, we need to be aware of the triggers. Migraine headaches tend to be reoccurring, they keep coming back, and they tend to be a severe throbbing or a pulsing pain within the head, which indicates that it has something to do with vascular, the blood supply of the head, right? Often it's on one side of the head, and it can be associated with nausea, sickness, and maybe some weakness. And sometimes it's very often attributed to sensitivity to light or sound. So triggers of migraines can be chemical, hormonal, perhaps emotional stress, or physical. And then, of course, things from the environment. And of course, they can be due to a combination of factors, which I think, or I perhaps know, that is very often the case. Right? Try and be aware of what your triggers are. If you're not sure what your triggers are, then a great thing to do perhaps would be to start making a diary and start to write down when you get these triggers, when you get these symptoms, and then you can start to look back and maybe start to attribute something. Maybe it's chemical, maybe it's something you're eating. Okay. Right, the third one, this is tension headaches, often called stress headaches. Very, very important in my clinic, because this is the #1 reason that people come into our clinics for headaches, tension headaches. You may or may not be surprised to learn that neck pain and headaches are very, very closely linked together. That usually it's a sort of dull, aching pain or a pressure across the sides, front, back of the head, often emanating, coming from the neck or shoulders. Usually they may last a few hours, sometimes even longer. But these are the biggest causing factor of headaches in our clinics. Definitely today in this little presentation, I'm definitely going to be spending most time on the tension headaches, because by fixing tension headaches, we can definitely do the most good. But do always remember that headaches are multifactorial, all right? There's always going to be more than one reason. There might be something underlying, there might be a trigger. If you can remove the biggest cause, the biggest contributing thing, then you're going to be in a much better state to avoid future headaches. So my dangerous belief number 3, how about trying to ignore them? Some people do that. Some people tell me they've been living with headaches for years. Common strategy, just try and ignore them, or perhaps try to live with them, sort of accommodate them within your life. Well, if you ignore the problem, will it go away? I don't know. Well, I don't know whether you ever tried to ignore a problem as a solution, but you know, do problems tend to get worse if you ignore them? Sometimes they go away, but generally, I think we know that they tend to get worse. In all actuality, probably the 5 most dangerous words in healthcare is maybe it will go away. And I know that almost everybody have said those words at some stage, but you know, generally ignoring them and waiting for them to go is probably not a good strategy. So a dangerous belief number 4, this is my 4th one and final dangerous belief, but many people think that nothing can be done without them. They've had headaches for so long, it's part of their lives. But I really want you to know that in 99% of cases, you're wrong. Something can be done about it. In most cases, something definitely can be done about it. Well, how do I know that? Well, quite simply, that in our clinics, I would say more than 95% of people that come in with headaches are better. Maybe not 100% better, because there's always lifestyle things. The triggers might be still there all the time. But definitely by removing the stresses from our structure, this really helps people, right? But do remember, headaches are multifactorial, right? So let's start with what I know to be the biggest contributing factor. So this leads me to why does chiropractic help so well? Well, I just want you to know why. It comes from the neck. And please understand that everybody who suffers headaches should be checked by a chiropractor. If you know something, please help them find their way into one of our clinics. The reality is our alignment, the alignment of our structure in gravity will be the cause of most of your future physical pain. I've said that once before. I will probably be saying it till the day I die. But remember, if you have pain, there is a cause, and one of the underlying causes is almost certainly the physical cause of gravity on a structure that is out of alignment, right? We live in gravity, and those gravitational forces are either destroying us or they're making us stronger. Pain, whether it be shoulder, neck pain, or headaches, is the body just communicating and saying there is a physical stress that's building up. And if we're not careful, there may be some unfortunate cascade of events, symptoms. If your body's communicating with you about, with a headache, with pain, shoulders or neck or whatever, please try and correct it as early as possible. Because what happens is it tends to build up. Damage tends to bioaccumulate. But when we look at X-rays further down the line, then we see actual damage. Where these structures have been out of alignment, then inevitably there's going to be some degenerative changes, right? If your alignment is poor, you should try and have it corrected as early as possible. So let's look a little bit closer at the neck and why we as chiropractors pay so much attention to it, right? I really want you to understand what I'm talking about here. I want us to consider exactly what is going on inside our necks. And as you can see quite clearly from this diagram of the anatomy of the neck, that there's a lot going on in there. Here you see arteries, and you see veins, and you see muscles and nerves, right? There's a lot going on there. If we look at the next one, we see the muscles of the neck, and you can see all those different separate muscles. And at the end of those muscles, you see the white connections. Well, they're the tendons, those tendons where the muscles attach to the bone. You've got some at the back of the head there. And these are very closely, can be attributed to where people get tension or stress headaches. And I think many of you that do get headaches know that it tends to quite often come in here, at the back of the head, maybe in this occipital area, just at the top of the neck, at the back of the skull. Okay, now let's go a little bit deeper. So for many of you, you've heard me talk about bowling balls. I just happen to have one with me today. Here's my bowling ball. Right, why have I got it? Because this is the weight of a human adult head. Right, this one in particular is 6 kilos, but it's only 6 kilos if it's balanced on my shoulders, like you see in the diagram. The diagram on the left, there's a line right at the middle. And if the head is balanced right on that gravity line, then there's not going to be a buildup of tension. But remember inside your neck, what's going on. If I've got my head here and it comes forward, it's getting heavier. Now, when I hold it forward like that, then I start to get a lot of pain in my wrist. So that's forward head. If it goes over to one side like that, by God, I can really feel pain. Now, if that's happening in your neck, then no wonder you get some pain. Now, let me show you a little trick here. If I turn around, my head actually disappears. And then I come back, here it comes back. Pretty cool trick, eh? Thought I'd just share that with you. It made me laugh anyway. Right, so what do we do as chiropractors with this problem? Well, of course, we do adjustments, which they just simply are the most effective solution that we know of for resolving or managing neck and shoulder pain, and therefore alleviating headaches. So how does it help so much? Well, let's just think of just some of the many, many, many things that chiropractor does that actually helps you. It restores motion, which reduces pain. It's opening the joint, so that's taking pressure off nerves, it's freeing things up, right? Our joints are meant to be open, so all the information can flow through our body. It's improving blood flow, and that's facilitating healing, of course. Our adjustments actually release endorphins, so those are those feel-good hormones, so no wonder we feel better. As I said, the adjustments, they are taking pressure off nerves, they're reducing fibrosis or scar tissue, allowing our joints to increase their elasticity. There's nothing worse than stiffening up. If anything's going to make you feel old, it's stiffening up and then developing these chronic headaches. The adjustments, they improve your alignment, and very, very importantly, it turns off what is known as the sympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic nervous system, part of our autonomic nervous system is our fight or flight. It's the stress part of our nervous system that brings certain problems to the fore. It increases our blood pressure. It opens up our arteries. And when our arteries, they open up, that gives us headaches. It creates pressure. Right? We do not want our sympathetics working all the time, all right? Chiropractic is a wonderful way of just reducing the tension and stress in our system, and headaches just tend to go away when you get it into a role of adjustment, so the body starts to adapt in a much better way. Okay, so chiropractic is probably the number one thing if anybody hasn't tried it, if you are a headache sufferer. Right? Right. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through a list of things that I know help. Now, will they all help you? No. Some of them will, almost for sure. Everybody is different. Everybody, excuse me. Everybody has their own triggers. Everybody has their own causes of the problem. So let's just run through some of these. These are worth a try. So number one, drink more water, right? Dehydration is definitely one of the common causes, especially as we age. As we age, we tend to dry out a little, and we get more tension, headaches, and we get more migraines. Number two, take magnesium. Low levels of magnesium are a recognized causes, especially of migraines. Why? Because magnesium, well, actually magnesium is so important in many physiological functions. But notably, it's important for blood sugar regulation. It's important for nerve transmission. Remember, headaches is a nerve thing. And it's really important in muscle contraction and relaxation. If we're down on magnesium, our muscles aren't going to be able to relax properly. Okay, good reason. What about alcohol? Yeah, some of us have had alcohol headaches. I know I have. I've had the odd hangover in the past. But why is that? Well, a few reasons. One, it dehydrates us. But a second one, it's a vasodilator. So that opens up the arteries in our brain, and that creates more pressure. Right? So again, if that's a trigger, think about when you get your headaches, maybe cutting down on the alcohol, maybe drinking a glass of water between drinks. That would work. I know it's something that I do every now and again. One of my strategies. Big one is getting adequate sleep. I hope that we all know that that's when the body recovers. It's when our body does its repairs. We should be getting at least 6 hours, and then you'll probably find your headaches are less severe. Right, what about histamine? You've all heard of histamine. We take antihistamine sometime if we get these sinus headaches or whatever. Now, antihistamines, they reduce the histamine and then we feel better. But did you know that there are many foods that are high in histamine? And again, histamine does a few things. It's a vasodilator. So what does that do? It opens up the arteries, creates more pressure. And it also creates arterial permeability. So the fluid in our arteries, the blood, leaks into the tissues, so it can do some repair work. But what it's going to do, it's going to increase pressure, it's going to increase headaches. So how do we, sorry, just going ahead of myself. How do we reduce foods that are high in histamine? Well, here they are. Try cutting out aged cheeses, fermented foods, and here's me, I've just drunk my glass of kimchi. Fermented foods, yeah, that has it as well. Beer, wine, smoked fish, and cured meats, they are all high in histamine. So again, you may like all of those things, but if you get headaches, maybe it's just worth a try. Many people, many of my clients swear by using essential oils. I know my wife enjoys essential oils. She actually pops them on her pillow, and it helps her sleep. And again, the oils that you perhaps should try for headaches: lavender, I know is good, and peppermint. How do you use them? A few drops on your pillow might work, or maybe applying some to your temples can also work. What else do I know can work? And it's been reported by clients in the past. Well, try a vitamin B complex, especially B2, riboflavin, for migraines, also B6 and B12. Okay, all proven. They are safe. If you get headaches, do try a B complex. It will more than likely help you. Another thing, remember, we're talking about vasodilation causing pressure. So what can help reducing vasodilation? Perhaps a cold compress. Maybe, how do you do that? Maybe a damp towel. You could put it in the freezer for a while and put it over the back of your neck. That might decrease inflammation, constrict those blood vessels, and especially this could work with tension headaches or migraines. There's the cold complex. Next, I want you to consider CoQ10. Now, this CoQ10 is something that's very, very important for mitochondrial health. What are your mitochondria? They are the little battery packs in all your cells that produce energy from your food, right? People that are low on CoQ10 cannot produce as much energy, and this relates with headaches very often. Interesting. People who are on statins, so if you are on statins for a reason of perhaps high cholesterol, then you almost certainly should be taking additional CoQ10, because statins, they disrupt the production of CoQ10 in our bodies, right? Very important. Now, let's think about those triggers. If any of those triggers in your life that you think may be attributing to headaches, well, let's get them out. And the best way to do it is with an elimination diet. And I'm not going to go into it now, but if you start eliminating things, find what your intolerances are. For some of them, it might be nitrites. I mentioned them in the food. For other people, it might be gluten. There's all sorts of things that could be considering. So by doing an elimination diet, if anybody doesn't know what a good elimination diet is, do let me know, and I've got one that I can pass to you. It's just something that you can try at home, and then once you've eliminated, see how you feel. Then you can start popping the foods that you eliminate back into your diet and see what the effect is. Okay, really good. Right, caffeine. How does that work? Or am I talking about more caffeine or less? Well, this is a bit strange because it could be either way. If you're not a coffee drinker or a tea drinker, they both have caffeine, then you could try, if you feel a headache coming on, you could actually try drinking a cup of coffee or tea. It actually improves mood and it constricts blood vessels, right? It's that old blood vessel thing again. But obviously you don't want to drink too much. And then if you are a big coffee drinker, then you could perhaps think about drinking less, because maybe, just maybe, caffeine is one of your triggers, all right? Always looking for the triggers. So what about acupuncture? This is something that I know that a lot of people come to our clinics, they try it. Acupuncture, why does it work? Well, it tends to work by, it has various effects on the nervous system in dulling pain. As headaches is simply pain, then, obviously acupuncture is definitely worth a try. There are other forms of TCM, traditional Chinese medicine. People could try cupping, for example, on their shoulders and down the back. It reduces tension. Anything that reduces tension and muscle tightness can help reduce those tension headaches. So what else is worth a try? Any way of relaxing, right? Here I've said yoga, but anything that helps you de-stress, whether it be meditation or there's all sorts of things. Whatever works for you. I know I love yoga. That's one of my things. I also do a little bit of meditation. It works for me. Other triggers, strong smells. Smells, they go right into our olfactory centers, and they are really good at triggering emotions and feelings, and also triggering headaches, right? So again, looking at those triggers. Many people who have headaches swear by herbal remedies. So again, I mentioned peppermint before. Another one, another herbal remedy you could try, coriander seeds and lavender. And I know you can Google it. There's many, many, many more. What works for the person? So I really do want you to celebrate the fact that you are a bio individual. You've got your own personal chemistry. Almost certainly you'll have your own triggers. So why not experiment? I spend my life experimenting with myself, and I learn every time I do it. I learn something. We really want to be trying to avoid nitrates. These are chemical food preservatives. These are probably one of the big triggers for people who have chemical type headaches, right? Nitrates, where are they found? In food preservatives. So it's there again. I'm singing from the old song. Try and make your food whole food. Try not to bring it out of packets or you know what I'm saying, right? Eat whole foods. Try and avoid all those terrible chemicals that aren't there to help us be healthy. What else can you try? Try sipping on some ginger tea. It's a great anti-inflammatory. Anti-inflammatories can certainly reduce sinusitis. It might reduce inflammation in the brain. Anything might work. Okay, definitely worth a try. And then of course the big one. If you're a headache sufferer, you certainly should try getting some more exercise. Okay, how do you do that? Well, I don't know, just whatever you enjoy. Certainly increasing your steps is the big one. I think that walking is probably the #1 underrated exercise. Interestingly, the people in the world that probably are the fittest tend not to exercise because they do so much walking and they get so much activity in their lives. You'll probably find these people are fairly headache free. Okay, right. I've gone through quite a list of ways of relieving these headaches. I'm going to go through just a couple of exercises we can go through. We've been going for about 45 minutes. I don't want to go through. I don't want to talk for much longer. I want to wind this up, and I want to get through to any questions if there are any. Okay, so let's just think about simple exercises. Remember, many of the headaches coming from the neck. So here's a great thing. You can do a little self-massage by rolling up a towel, popping it behind your neck, and then just using the weight of your head to put some little pressure on the back of our necks. Roll your neck from side to side. It's encouraging that curve to come back in the neck. And of course, it's giving the back of our necks a little bit of a massage. We should be stretching out our neck muscles almost every day. Almost everybody that comes into my clinic has got tight neck, tight shoulders. I can almost sense you nodding. Yeah, that's you as well. So try and get some movement in there. I've got a little thing that I teach my clients. You will love this. You know, Y, U, W, will, drop down into the L, and then T. All these, I'm pulling my head back. It's opening at the shoulders. It's a great, simple thing to do with your shoulders and your neck. You will love this. Okay, and then the last one again, stretch out those shoulders, whatever works for you. Okay, I tend to work only a few hours a day at my computer, but I know many of you are spending upwards of 8 hours. So find what works for you, okay? And when we're talking about headaches, I think it's really important that I do note that, of course, there is a warning. There are certain caveats, there are certain times that we need to be aware of. If anybody in your family is suffering headaches and it's associated with an extremely stiff neck, a lot more than normal, then this is a possible medical situation, right? If it's associated with a rash, if it's the worst headache ever, if it's associated with vomiting or confusion or slurred speech, visual disturbances, anything like that, then you should be seeking medical attention. A fever over 38 degrees, you want to be starting to think more in terms of perhaps seeing a medical doctor. And then obviously, if there's any loss of function or paralysis, this is definitely time to see a professional. Okay, now I've gone through a lot of stuff there. I've tried to give you some things that you can try at home. I'm going to make this available for everybody. If anybody wants to get this whole talk in a PDF form or anything like that, then please just let me know. We can absolutely do that. I'm going to open it up for questions. I'm just going to bring the chat up so I can see if
Dr. Tim,
there's anything there for me.
Yes, there are a few questions for you.
Yes.
Okay, there's one from David. My wife is suffering from migraines from work. She's using tramadol. Is there a replacement you recommend?
My wife suffers migraines from work. She's using tramadol. Can you recommend any replacement? Right. So there are a number of medications. I am not a medical doctor. I'm not even allowed to tell you what to try, right? But there are over-the-counter ones that you can try. So if that's not working, then try another one. I would simply ask a pharmacist what they recommend. That would be my thing. But as a chiropractor, please do look at some of these more natural things, okay? Do not be taking tramadol, whether it be tramadol or aspirin or any Panadol or whatever you choose. Do not make it become a chronic occurrence, right? Because there will be effects. Have a look at the small print. So don't get dragged down that route, all right? That's my answer.
There's one more. My headaches only happens in the morning. Went to the doctor a few times, unable to find the root cause. What should I do, Dr. Tim?
So they're only happening in the morning. So if that is when you are waking up in the morning, then it's probably associated with your posture in sleep. Remember, when you are sleeping, you're in bed, you're not moving. So if there's any arthritis or anything like that, it's going to stiffen up. Stiffening up causes tension in the neck. Boom, there's your tension headache right at the beginning of the day. If it's happening during the morning, then you need to start looking at the triggers. Is it because you've now been at your computer for 3 or 4 hours and the tension, this physical stress is building up? Or is it because your dehydration? Or is it because of eyesight? Think about it. If you're looking at your screen for 3 or 4 hours, are you starting to get some eye strain? Again, that's another one of those possible triggers. So, I think you need to think about when it's happening and what have you been doing before it. Okay, I hope that's helped. If there's any more that you need to know, then please come back on.
Okay, Dr. Tim, there's one from Zoe. Is there any side effects, pain from the adjustment? This question was posed during when you are talking about the adjustment. So I believe she wanted to find out more whether is there any side effect or pains that she'll get from the adjustment.
Right. Are there any side effects of adjustments? Yes. And nearly all the side effects are positive. Are there pains from the adjustment? Well, if something has been chronic, if you've had a chronic misalignment of the spine for a long time, and we're addressing it and we're making it work better, then we can actually make a joint that hasn't been moving for a long time, we can make it suddenly move better. So it could be associated with a little bit of achiness, but that would only be for a short time. By far, the greatest effects are on the positive side. Most people feel almost immediate benefit. Our clinics see over 1,500 people every single week. Believe me, if our adjustments were associated with pain, our clinics would not be so busy like this, okay? Almost certainly the adjustments will help you. Almost certainly they will have a beneficial effect on stress and strain and headaches. But on the odd occasion, at the beginning of treatment, there may be just a little bit of achiness. And you could think a little bit like going to the gym. You haven't been to the gym for a long, long time. Now you go to the gym. It could be a little bit achy in the morning, but it's a good pain. All right, I think you know what I mean. Okay, I hope that helps.
Yep, that's all for the questions. If there's anyone who wanted to ask more questions, please feel free to post, or you can unmute yourself.
Yeah, if anybody wants to go ahead and unmute and talk to me, that's great, no problem. Okay, Stan says, how to choose a good chiropractor? Well, you want somebody who's been to a good school. You want somebody who's great at communicating with you, because they need to take away the mystery. Okay, this is something that's really important in our clinics, is that I make sure that you get as much information as you need to make an informed decision. Okay, so we want to take away the worry. We want to help you understand what's going on. And then another thing I'd say, you want somebody that works with x-rays, really, because it's a very, very important part of the anatomy. I'm very, very big on working from x-rays. It helps us do the most good, and it certainly helps us avoid any problems or anything like that. Okay, so being a good communicator, I think, is the best thing. And of course, they need to have come from one of the best schools in the world. Okay, I think that is a wrap. So I'd like to thank you all. I'd like just to remind you, this has been recorded. So if anybody wants a copy, you'll find it, no problem at all. Just going on to the final slide. Next month webinar is going to be on extremities. I'm going to be focusing a little bit more on shoulders and knees, because these are certainly areas that I deal with a lot in my clinics. So shoulders and knees, and all the other extremities, but I will have a focus next month. Below you see my website. If you want to contact us, then of course you can find all the information on the website, and then there is my my email address for anybody that wants to contact me directly. I am very, very easy to find. I certainly don't hide, and I'm very good at coming back to you. Okay, so thank you so much for listening, being with me this last hour. I've really enjoyed it, and I appreciate you all. So thanks again, and look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.